Connor's Degrassi Unpopular Opinions.
Hey there, hello there, it's Jeff Cutter Diamond and welcome you to yet another Degrassi Unpopular Opinions video. So, we went through a lot of topics. I got them written down. Talked about how the students had mishandled the cause of the Orange Ribbon campaign from Season 4. We talked about Paige's Season 4 and why would she be with a guy with Mr. O? Was Emma really willing to be with Sean after the shooting? Sorry. Why did they use a bus crash to further Maya's depression and all that? Did they have to go there, if you will? Emma and Manny in Season 6, why Emma was justified in getting mad at Manny for her role in Season 6 after JT's death. Spinner's redemption arc being the best redemption arc ever. Of course, I said, well, why it was number one. I also talked about Craig's problems and why he was more of a dick than you usually think. Alex in Season 4, was she justified in her abuse of Rick because of how her mother was abused? Who had the bigger ego in Season 4 after the shooting? Jay, with basically telling Spinner and Alex to be quiet, not to implicate him in the paint and feathers thing, or Radich for basically not letting the students have any say on matters after the shooting. Talked about Paige being the bad guy in Season 2 with Ashley, saying that basically Paige's Queen Bee attitude may have forced Ashley to not have a lot of friends. Peter and Emma in Season 6. Why was Emma willing to be with Peter in Season 6, even though Peter was just pure evil? Why wasn't Rick stopped? Why didn't anybody stop or at least try to talk to Rick in the situation other than Sean at the scene and Paige? And why, I guess I never wrote down why he couldn't go through Jay and Spinner's bullshit. So, yeah, that. Also talked about Emma and Raj. Did Raj have a gripe against Emma? And that could have blown up. The OG bashing, like basically they weren't really too keen on giving the original cast some good storylines when Next Gen came up. I talked about who was more at fault, Cam or was Cam at fault for his own demise, or was Simpson guilty of it because of Cam not getting the help he needed? But did that. Talked about the Emma Manny dynamic, about why Emma was more of a friend to Manny than we all think. I also said something about Maya in Season 14. Was a relationship with Miles basically love or concern? Yeah. So yeah, I did a lot of hot takes and all that, or unpopular opinions. So anyway, this video will be about Zombie Emma. So basically, my hot take or unpopular opinion is that Emma in Season 4, the shooting did her in. She basically turned into Zombie Emma and then basically turned into Emma that was unrecognizable with fans. Now, I went into great detail about Emma with a couple of case study videos on the Degrassi, my Degrassiums playlist, which basically a lot of people should know about. So if you search on YouTube for, Degrassi shooting and other Degrassi-isms. Degrassi-isms is spelled Degrassisms. Then you'll find out basically about things. Yeah, about the Emma videos. But anyway, what I'm trying to get at, guys, is that Emma in the first 3 seasons was unbearable. She basically wanted to save the world. She was a tree hugger and all that. She basically gave bad advice to friends. She basically tried to see things her way when other people didn't like it. She butted in when it was inappropriate. She seemed to be a little bit selfish, if you will, even though that she had her right way. And the whole abortion issue. Well, season 2 is when Spike finds out she's pregnant, and she actually tells Emma that she wants to abort the baby, not have a second mistake. And Emma's like, what? Was I a mistake? So Emma goes overboard. She tells Simpson about it because, that's Emma to a core. She doesn't want to abort the baby. But thankfully, Snake and Spike don't abort. And then, you got yourself the fact in season 3 when Manny gets pregnant by Craig. I believe that was when Craig and Manny were having sex on Emma's bed, and Emma basically went to a rave and all that. From Manny's. Basically, yeah, that happened there. And then Emma says, you're not going to abort the baby. And Manny says, I'm too young. I think I'll be a great mother one day. Yeah, but there's adoption agencies. Think about it. It was like Emma's basically against Manny's abortion. Well, that's fair enough for her. And then, of course, Emma decides to stand up for Manny in front of Craig, saying that, I believe you, Craig. She shouldn't abort the baby, but it's her body and her choice, and I have to live with it. And then, of course, in early season 4, she did herself in by basically trying to thwart Liberty and Chris, because it would look bad on her. Boy, Emma, you have an ego. So of course, she gets involved with Rick. She saves Rick's bacon from beatings, and she's basically spurned by the school. And basically, she's all by herself. The only friend she has is part of the Wacky Brain team, Rick, Toby, and Heather Sinclair. And then, of course, Heather gets replaced by Jimmy. They win the Wacky Brain competition. They're good. And then all of a freaking sudden, the painted feathers come pouring in. And, of course, Rick gets hurt. Rick kisses Emma. Emma spurns him. Rick thought that Emma was showing affection towards him, but Emma was just protecting him. And then, of course, Rick had the gun and all that. Of course, he wasn't going to shoot anybody after Paige calmed him down, but Jay and Spinner basically told him about Jimmy. So basically, Rick decides to go after Jimmy, and then, unfortunately, he sees Emma, Toby, and Sean walking together, and basically goes after Emma. And again, why didn't anyone stop him? I don't know. But anyway, Emma basically sees the gunfight between Sean and Rick. Of course, Sean shoots Rick and all that. Accidentally, I believe. So basically, Emma is just shocked about everything and all that. And of course, in the background, that, Snake is concerned about Emma's thing and basically lashes at Raditch and all that. But Snake had every right to be angry. His stepdaughter could have got hurt, and then things would have been bad for Raditch. Snake would not let Raditch realize that. So anyway, yeah. And then of course she thinks she can handle things on the Monday after the shooting. But everyone looks at her, and basically they know that Emma was nearly killed by Rick. And so she thanks Sean. She enjoys herself with Sean, but Sean has to go home for his PTSD, and then basically Emma is fine. Emma seems to be fine in a few senses, but unfortunately we learn that it's not all sunshine and roses. Emma's been hiding her pain about the shooting and all that. And it manifested itself in secret when she basically went with Jay and got sexual favors and all that. That made her feel good and all that. Unfortunately, the feeling was short-lived. And she realized that this was not her, and she basically was terrible. And she admitted that, I think, after the Rick situation, she just couldn't hang on to what people perceived her to be in the first 3 seasons. But Spike and Snake assure her that everything will be fine. So yeah, Zombie Emma. Season 4, I called the Zombie Emma one. I know it's unfair because the first 6 episodes, she wasn't a zombie, but later on she was a zombie. It's Zombie Emma was basically just an excuse for the writers to rework Emma's character. Because you gotta look at the fact that after the shooting, Emma's character is not really as it seems to be. One main difference is the causes. Because after season 4, how many causes should she take part in? 3. One was season 6, when she set up a fake 50-50 draw to basically get Sean a lawyer. Number 2 was Purple Dragon in season 7. And number 3 was the Recycle project from season 9. That's it. She really doesn't have any causes and all that. Unlike most things. I guess you could kind of say in the unrelated case that the cause of trying to get Lakehurst to pay for what they did to JT. But I mean, like, that just sucks. So yeah, and of course her relationships also was a big factor. Emma was portrayed after season 4 as trying to chase down a guy instead of being just waiting for someone to come to her. I mean, she had 2 relationships with Sean, and she had one with Chris, and then basically she had no relationships after Chris till Peter came along in season 5. But of course that was mostly because season 4 she was shaken to the core about Rick and all that. I mean, you can call Jay a little bit of a relationship too, but I mean, Emma only did it to try to make herself feel better about the shooting and all that. I think Emma just went the wrong way. So yeah. And a lot of people say, well, wait a minute, didn't Emma break up with Jay because of the Paint and Feathers? There was no way that anyone knew about Jay and Paint and Feathers until Spinner confessed to Jimmy when Jimmy came back. Yeah, so that was huge and all that. Now, of course, you know, she went through a lot of causes. Okay, so she went through a lot of causes in the first few seasons. Abortion being the one thing. The genetically modified foods thing in season 2 with Raj and all that. Now, a lot of people say that Emma was in the wrong about it. And I agree, but I also know Raj was in the wrong too. So basically 2 wrongs don't make a right. But I think that basically they both were terrible and all that. Emma was complaining that Raj didn't listen to her causes. But a lot of high school students don't realize how the school works with budgets and all that. And Raj said that you should be lucky we have a cafeteria. That's how bad Degrassi is funded, in a sense. But, I mean, you know, it's just hard to swallow, in a sense. You know, Emma was on a crusade thing, and basically she was in the crusade mindset, and nothing was going to stop her. So she basically screwed things up and all that. But what people forget is that Emma was willing to wait for the white flag until the cafeteria commercial mocking her, and that triggered her. And she got mad at Toby. She accidentally flung his tray, and then a food fight happens. Opportunity knocks. Raj blames her for everything and basically wants Emma to stand down. Emma protests about her freedom and all that, saying that basically Raj basically jumps to conclusions and all that. Raj is not happy. He wants her to apologize for everything. And she does for the food fight. But then she realizes that her cause and effect is basically that she is who she is. So she basically outs Raj and even tells the students about the 1-week suspension and all that. And, you know, Raj is upset because he got called out and now the students are going to take advantage of him. That's just probably his problem. Like, he didn't grow with the students in a sense. Basically, he was stuck in his 80s style teaching methods. So, of course, she had a few other causes and all that. And, of course, as we know, the Orange Ribbon campaign for domestic violence and all that. I think Emma would have done a domestic violence protest in the first place. But, like, they did it as a secret way to get rid of Rick. That did not work. Emma got chastised by everybody. And so basically she had nothing. And then of course it's like, after season 4, it's like, did she do some cause in season 5? Not really, no. Season 6 was, of course, getting Sean the lawyer. I mean, and I was shocked that Emma was thinking about Sean in a positive way. I thought Emma wanted to cut Sean out of her life forever and be with Peter. What made her think that she and Sean had it? I think it was because she felt something with Sean. And I mean, I think someone should have mentioned it, but I always thought this was mentioned. But basically that Emma is told by Manny, who was there to save your life from Rick? It's like Manny probably told Emma, saying that Sean was there. Sean saved you from dying or being hurt from Rick. So yeah, that might be it. Maybe Emma's mind reminded her that Sean was the one who saved her from certain doom, thanks to Rick. And then season 7, the Purple Dragon thing. Emma decides to become a Purple Dragon girl, basically to try to get the school off her back, saying that she's a boring, bland person. And so she does, and then she's told what to eat and what not to eat. And basically, she makes the decision that she cannot let herself be that anorexic, like, girl from season 5. So basically, Emma decides, screw it. You can't force me to eat what I want. I'm going to eat healthy, and that's all the way there to it. So anyway, Emma eats a lot of food. So yeah, so Emma basically lashes out at Natasha, and basically after Natasha tells her some stuff that Emma doesn't agree with, Emma realizes that basically, she should be who she is, the cause girl. Basically, she's like, she can't go against her morals and high principles. So she basically lashes out at Purple Dragon. And a few of the staff members tell her to keep quiet. Jeez, Armstrong, what a dick. So anyway, Armstrong was wrong. But anyway, Emma strips off, saying that, well, Natasha says, you don't wear that dress with your fuse. Okay. And she strips off naked and all that. And I'm like, oh my God. Emma gets a lot of detention, but thankfully is safe from suspension. I think that basically Purple Dragon admitted their faults. They still do the campaign Purple Dragon with Degrassi, but Purple Dragon changes their views on things. Makeup dog. And then season 9 is the recycle thing. She's in college. She's with Kelly. She's happy and all that. Doing some kind of project to fix old bikes and make them new again. Mostly to send to Africa, if memory serves me right. So anyway, things look good, but there's basically friction in Kelly and Emma's relationship. Kelly is basically wanting to try a burger, but Emma won't let him. And add to the fact that Kelly's dad basically wants Kelly to take a job back up to the Yukon in lieu of the recycle project because it doesn't pay him anything and all that. Surprised that Kelly would take that job. But of course, I think Kelly's dad may have also had the thing that basically he thought that Emma was just being too controlling of his son. Sometimes fathers are protective. All that. But Emma is upset that Kelly chose a job with his dad over her. And so she basically says, screw it. But of course, Emma then, I don't know if she intentionally did it or unintentionally did it, but she admits that college is not fun, especially when she's chasing friends instead of going to 19th century literature or something like that. This is in Holiday Road, season 9, episode 5, I think. So basically, Emma realizes that she is just useless. Sometimes people in college just don't do well. So there are a few Degrassi Reddit posts to deal with this thing. And basically, one of them was one I said about 3 weeks ago that said, was Rick's death more impactful on Emma as she said to be? And I said, hear me out. And I said, Emma seemed to have regret over the whole situation with Rick. Yeah, she was nearly shot at. If it wasn't for Sean, but maybe she had regret over how the Orange Ribbon campaign for domestic violence turned into Rick bashing, aka going after Rick mercilessly. To be fair, it was not her fault. The students took this as a sign to destroy Rick for what he did to Terry. But was this the catalyst for why in seasons 5 to 9 she didn't really take up causes, except for season 6 and getting Sean to lawyer, season 7 to call out Purple Dragon, and season 9's recycle project? Seems to me she got reset in a negative way. Maybe the writers didn't want too much Emma hate, because the communities would tear her to shreds. And one person, Nani, said, quote, more than likely she just didn't know how to cope with the feeling of guilt and witnessing someone die. I don't remember if they ever said she got regular help or just what the school offered, but I can't imagine as a person how hard that would be to deal with. Guilt about the ribbon thing, even though she had basically atoned for that by not letting him get beat up, but still it happened. Also, she had that moment when she shoves Rick off her and insults him, kind of. All that probably ran through her head a lot, and she did have a near-death experience. She could have been depressed, and that would have led to give her no will to do what she was passionate about. Although she hadn't been as deep into them prior to the shooting, as she basically gave it up at that point. Everyone wanted her to just get over it and be back to normal, but that's not how things work. Then after she became about boys. She even pointed out when she does the purple dragon thing that she lost her drive. Wow, I didn't know about that episode. And then, of course, somebody named Yeezy did a post about Heart. Hate to say it, but they did a great job making me feel bad for Rick. And pretty much, everyone was feeling bad about Rick and all that. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of things about Rick and how he did a great job with his acting and all that. It's like, what about Emma and all that? What does this have to do with zombie Emma? Yeah, I know how things are and all that. It was hard to realize that. There's always a point of contention that, you gotta feel bad for Rick. It's like, you would feel bad for Rick if he wasn't so retaliatory, even when he did the spray paint and all that. Rick would have won out. Rick would have won the day, and basically everyone else would have been punished severely. But Rick just had to do retaliation that led to Spitter, Jay, and Alex putting the paint and feathers on him, and then basically he got so pissed off he decided to bring a gun to the school and take down Paige, but Paige calmed him down before the gun was shown to her. And then, of course, when Jay and Spinner told their BS at Rick and all that. I love that stuff. But anyway, it was hard to believe. And I mean, zombie Emma. Yeah. Obviously, yeah. Nani has the right point. Basically, that she lost her drive after what happened with the Rick situation and how she blamed herself in a sense, although she should not have blamed herself. So that was just terrible in a sense.